Hello, how are you? I hope you're doing great. Today we're here to talk about how to get on the wave. And we're not talking about surfing or couch surfing or anything like that. We're talking about how to get on the wave of letting all the beautiful things that are in this world become your own experience. My name is Ana Merlino, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. So how do we start? When I was thinking about doing this video, I thought to myself, oh my God, this is such a difficult thing to explain. And also at the same time, it is such a wonderful thing to share that I want to really make it clear so that everybody can jump into this wave and feel happy as a natural state of being. Let's start by explaining how I got to learn about getting on the wave. I got inspired by Esther and Jerry Hicks. When they were younger, Jerry was into all sorts of spiritual things. He was looking for answers. He wanted to know where everything came from. Why are we here? Whereas Esther was more rational and skeptical. But one day, one of Jerry's friends gave him the contact of somebody who was channeling, and they decided to go. Esther said, okay, I'm going too. But she was not very into it. But after that experience, Esther actually felt very identified with the person who was channeling and learned from him that she could channel as well through meditation. So that's long story short, but the basics, or what we really want to know about this, are the lessons that she learned from this guide called Abraham. So the lessons were that everything works through 3 laws. And we are all affected by them, whether we like it or not. So the first one is the law of attraction, which you might have heard of. And this means that which is like unto itself is drawn. And that means that something that is similar to your experience or to your feelings is more likely to happen more in your experience. So the second law is the science of deliberate creation. This means that which I give thought to and that which I believe or expect is. The difference between the first law and the second law is that the first one just happens, right? Whether you like it or not, it is happening. The second law is deliberate. If I feel joy, it is more likely that I have experiences with joy. But in the second law, you're actually active. You're actually thinking about something with joy or with the feeling that you think you're going to get from your desire. And you're actually cooperating with the universe, so to speak, and the universe is cooperating with you so that you get that experience. The third law, well, let's wait a minute. Before we go to the third law, I realize that at this point, everything might sound a little bit esoteric, and I don't want to put it like that. It's actually a very logical way of thinking. So let's prove that this works for you already in a way that you may not like, but it's true. So let's say you wake up and you spill your coffee on top of your clothes, and then the whole day goes wrong. Okay, that is law of attraction going. You're in that frequency, you get more of that. So then you're thinking, oh, my boss is going to say something bad to me. And you're putting all your attention there. And then your boss says something bad to you. That is an example of deliberate creation working for you. For my friends, my clients, and myself, I know this law is true. Because we talk about it. When you think something's going to go bad, it is 100% or very, very high probability that you're going to be right. So those are the two first laws. Now let's go to the third law, the art of allowing. It says, I am that which I am. Easy, right? And I am willing to allow all others to be which they are. Not so easy, right? It is sometimes so difficult just to allow others to be how they are without trying to change them. It is kind of hard, isn't it? So, this working with all these three laws is what Esther calls being in the vortex. It's what we call being on the wave. It is like being in a frequency, you see. As a metaphor, it's like tuning into a specific radio frequency. Whenever I say you're in the vortex, it means you're in the frequency of riding the wave, like surfing your life in a very joyful way, right? So, how do we get closer to it? How does this vortex express itself? Let's talk first about the inner guidance. For Esther, it was and is Abraham, but we all don't channel. We all aren't in that state of, let's say, spirituality. So for me, what has worked, and I don't know if this works for you, is calling it intuition or inner self or connection to the universe, if you may want. Some people may call it God. It's not so important how you call it. It is more important that you call it. And you know you have one because sometimes, let's say there's a part of you feeling very uncomfortable with one decision, but in your mind you took it anyways because it was the thing that you were supposed to do or it was meant to be or whatever. And then when the decision is taken and the experience is gone, you said to yourself, shit, I knew I shouldn't have, or I knew I should have. Well, that is your inner self manifesting. That is the intuition, or however you want to call it. I will call it the inner self, but the word, as I said, is not so important. What we want to know about this inner self or voice is how it manifests. How do I know that the inner self is manifesting? Well, it's kind of easy actually. This inner voice expresses only through one thing, and that is feelings. So by feelings, you will know that you're on the right path. That means you're in the vortex or you're not. So what this inner being or inner self or intuition does is that it appears through your experience of feelings so that you know if you're in or not in, if you're on the wave or not. Let's say you feel very angry towards someone or even towards yourself. Some people may say that you want to go through that experience. I would like to say it's not necessary. I would like to say it's not necessary to struggle, to feel sad, to feel angry, because that is not our inner self's natural state. Our natural state of being is well-being. Our natural state of being is attracting things through our experience that are bringing us joy and releasing all those experiences that are not. Does that make sense? Our natural state of being has to be well-being, love, compassion, hope, enthusiasm, happiness, generosity, peace, etc. Those are the feelings that are natural for our inner self. So everything that has not to do with that is just a sign. It's not negative or positive, it's just a sign with contrast. Just like screens work, we need contrast in order to see better. So we need to feel that we fell off the wave in order to know that we have to get back to it. If we're feeling angry or sad or disappointed, it doesn't mean that's bad or negative. It just means that you're not in the vortex. So what we want to do is get back to it. And how do we do that? We now know what it means to be in the vortex. Let's now see how we can actually practice it. There are these 3 things I want to share with you that have worked for me and my clients. First thing you want to do is practice the following when you wake up. Don't start waking up checking your cell phone, just hold it for 15 minutes. And what you want to do is to meditate, but not like a regular meditation, the breathing or a blank mind. It's another kind of meditation. It's a meditation where while you do the breathing, you bring the feeling that you think you're going to get out of what you desire to have in your experience that day. In other words, if, for example, I want to manifest that I would give a speech in front of 57,000 people, but I don't have that yet. What I would like to do is meditate, putting that whole intention in bringing the feeling that I think I will feel on stage. Practicing that vision with the feeling will make me feel the exact same thing as if I were on stage. It doesn't matter if the experience is real in the physical world or not. Our body can't make a distinction between what we think is real and what is actually real. That's why post-traumatic stress exists. Although there is no manifestation, there is a feeling. So we want to practice it in a way that serves us. What we really want to do is project that feeling into the vortex, because it's more likely that that experience will manifest if we are feeling that feeling every single morning. So let's say I start my day with that, right? And I start happy and maybe put some music on and I just feel bubbly and full of energy. That is practicing the law of attraction and deliberate creation. So, second thing you want to do, let's say that in the middle of the day something happens. You know, we have 60,000 or more thoughts a day, and 80% of them are not very positive. But worst of all, 80% of them we're going to repeat the next day if we don't decide to change them. So that is something that actually does not depend on us completely. But what we can do, if some of these thoughts come into our frequency or radio station, is to be aware and consciously change the channel. We know how our inner self manifests, and that is through feeling. So if we get a negative feeling, we want to do one thing. We want to perceive the negative emotion as an opportunity to change how we are thinking about a situation. And as a result, we will get a better feeling out of it. Let's take an example. I'm 34 at the moment, and I've lived by myself since I was 23. I'm visiting my mom, and she says, "Hey, don't forget to take your jacket. It's going to be cold." I could think, "Oh, come on, I'm a grown-up, an independent woman." And that would make me feel some way. Or else, I could step back and look at the situation with a whole different thought about it. For example, I could think, that's my mom's way of loving me. So I would get another feeling from that. That is one thing you may want to do. You may want to change the thought about the situation until you get another feeling. And feeling that actually serves you more. You cannot change circumstances, but you can change how you feel about them by changing what you're paying attention to. But most of all, how you are paying attention to it. And there's this other step. The third one is for those situations where we get overwhelmed by the emotion, because we're all humans, right? Let's say you have an interaction with another person that is very tough, and it takes you out of the wave in 1 second, and you're like, oh, I really want to try and pay attention differently. And you're trying to think all these different kinds of positive things about this person, but it doesn't work because you're so overcome by this emotion. This feeling, this contrast is so high that you can actually not focus in anything else. Does that ring a bell? Because that also happens. So what you want to do in that situation is not trying to change your thoughts or feelings about it, but thinking about something else. In the beginning, it will be hard because it's like everything in life, it takes some practice. You cannot surf well the first day if you haven't done it before. You cannot ride a bicycle the first day in a gracious way if you haven't done that before. But with practice, you will feel that taking your mind out of the situation for a moment, or for an hour, or for the time you need will help. Putting your intention, focus, thoughts, and feelings into something else that brings you joy is going to allow you to look at the situation in a whole different perspective. From there, you can find other solutions to it. Whereas if you stay there and just bang your head on the wall, you're just going to bleed and you're not going to solve that situation. So let me at this point sum up the getting on the wave thing. You are basically the creator of your life. The life that you have around you is the mirror of the little universe that's in your mind. So if there are things that you like, that is you. If there are things that you don't like, that is you bringing that to your experience. But the good news is that you can change the how you feel about you and every single experience of your life. And this is not only about you, but when you decide to get on this wave, what you are really doing is giving others permission to do the same thing. Because you know, sometimes when I see myself or friends getting on the wave, I can see that there are other people that want you to get down because they are not on there. And when we are in the vortex, other people see more contrast between their lives and their desired lives. In these situations, I would suggest you don't pay attention because you're not doing any good by not glowing. You're actually taking away the permission and the allowance for them to get on the wave. And that is something that we all want. Imagine if everybody would be on the wave, attracting the best experiences to our lives and releasing all the experiences that don't serve us. Imagine if everyone would join, committing to live a life of well-being, no matter what the circumstances around might be. Imagine if everyone would allow others to be themselves, loving them and not trying to change them. Imagine how the world would work if we, every single one of us, would do that. So that's what I encourage us to do. I hope you enjoy your practice, and I would honestly be very, very happy if you could share the outcome for you by doing these practices. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.